How's it going, everybody? This is Captain S6 Coding, and today I'm back again with another Java tutorial. Okay, so for today's video I'm going to show you how do you read an input from a console and then output it back again into the console again, just like this example right here. Okay, so as you can see, the outcome is the exact same value as the one that is inputted here. So how do you do that? First, because we won't have to deal with that kind of like JFrame and all that kind of stuff, so we won't have to create a constructor. It's just simple code. It's like a basic code. Oops. Okay, so inside this, first we're going to create the scanner. The scanner is the one, or is a class that its job is to read, or like its name is, it scan the input information into the system. So the way we do it is scanner in equals new scanner system.in. Okay, now we'll import the scanner. We're going to do this as like this example. So the way we do it is, first we're going to create the variable for the place that we can input the data into. Like it's like a place when we input it, the data will be stored into that variable. So we're going to create a string variable and then an integer variable, int num, and then a float variable fnum. Done. So it's pretty easy. The way you do this is you do system.out, and then first we're going to do this part, enter a string, then after that, the way we read the input from the user into our system is by storing the information or value or data into our variable. So first we're going to input it into the variable of string. Okay, so str.in, we scan it from our console, in dot next line. So when we input a string or a line, it will be scanned and it will be stored into the variable of str, the variable of string, and then we will output it again into our console by doing this. Input string is, and then plus the variable of str. Right, the logic is like that. When we scan it and then we store it into our string variable, and then we output it again using the system.out, and when we call the variable at the end of the line. So if we run it, it will be like this. Okay, enter a string a b c d f g h i j k l, and then when we hit enter, it will output the outcome exactly as the way or the value we input it into the console. Now what we're going to do next is do it for the rest variable, for the integer and the float. So we're going to comment this out, get input string. Then the next would be get input integer. The way we do it is exactly the same like this. This is the main algorithm. But instead of string, we're going to do integer. and we change the variable name into num because that is the variable for the integer num. But we have to change this one bit of code. Since this is a number, not a string, we can't do this by using in the next line because this is for the string, for a line. Now what we have to do is we're going to scan an integer. The way we do this is in the next int for integer, right? Okay, so if we run the program, it will be like this: enter string a b c d e f g, enter an integer 1 2 3 4 5, enter, and it will output the same or exact value the way we input it into the console in the first place. Like this is just a pretty simple logic. And now we're going to do it for the float number, like decimals, like stuff like that. It's the same. We're going to change this to float, and then this to float, and then this to f. Okay, and then this to fnum. And the way we did it into integer, we can't use the line method for this float. Okay, so we're going to use the right method for our float, and the code is into next, guessed it, float, like that. Now we have finished our code. This is a really simple code, but you can implement this scanner into whatever kind of program you can think of. And let's just run it for the last time. Enter a string a b c d e f g, enter an integer 1 2 3 4 5, and then enter a float. Let's just do 8.57, and it works perfectly, right? But notice it, if you input the wrong type of the wrong type of variable or the wrong type of value or data into the console, so this line right here, or this code like right here, demands you to input a string. Let's just run it again. Demands you to input a string. So if you input it besides a string, but fortunately for the string, when we input it a number, it will create that number into a kind of string, okay, like that. But when we do it into an integer, when we input word into it, like a b c d e f g, it will show us errors. Because why? Because this is not an integer. Okay, this is not an integer, and what this line of code demands is an integer. Okay, understand that? So be careful when using this code. Be really careful and pay attention to what you're doing with your algorithm. Don't be fooled, and try to configure it yourself, configure like what this line of code does and what this line of code does, and what it will happen if I commented that out or something like that, right? This is a very easy tutorial for you guys, but it is really helpful if you want to create a program or something. So maybe that's for today's tutorial, and thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any videos from Craft96 Coding. And until then, happy coding.